I was sitting by the street, reading people's fortunes, when my billionaire biological parents finally tracked me down. They had absolutely no clue I was a street psychic, so they just stood there, staring at me in blank shock. Zhuang Qingqing was the first to laugh, her eyes dripping with absolute contempt. I just gave her a single, flat look and spoke up. If my prediction turns out wrong, you pay nothing. Madame Zhuang, care to know your future? She instantly burst into tears. Son, I am your mother. Come home with us. I quietly studied the wealthy strangers crowding my street corner. A clear reading flashed through my mind. Covered in dark energy, dying soon. I let out a heavy sigh and nodded. Packing up my compass and joss paper, I muttered, I need to go home and pack. My place is a wreck. Just wait out here. But Madame Zhuang stubbornly pushed her way inside with me anyway. The rest of the family had no choice but to follow along. They trailed right behind me, stepping into that filthy, narrow alleyway. Fat rats scurried past our boots in the shadows. I heard someone behind me gagging in disgust. How can anyone actually survive in a dump like this? Well, to me, it was totally fine. I had been living here for over a decade. Zhuang Qingqing kept twisting her face in utter disgust. I completely ignored her complaints and kept walking. Finally, I reached a tiny, battered door and pushed it open. The room inside was basic, just a cheap table and a rusty electric fan. I opened my closet and started pulling out my faded shirts. Qingqing wrinkled her nose. Why are you keeping those disgusting rags? We will buy you a brand new wardrobe once we get home. I opened my mouth to reply, but suddenly, a huge crowd shoved into my tiny room. They completely cornered the rich Zhuang family. You all better take good care of Bai Fan. This poor kid has been through hell. You look loaded, so why did it take you years to finally come find him? We heard that you already have an adopted son at home. Who knows how he will treat our Bai Fan. Since childhood, these loud neighbors and my Shifu had raised me. Seeing me leave, they were thrilled for my new life, yet heartbroken to let me go. Auntie Wang started shoving bags into my hands. We bought these clothes for you. Toss out your old rags. You must wear brand new outfits when entering your wealthy family home. Within just a few seconds, my arms were overloaded with random shopping bags. The neighborhood aunties and uncles carried my meager belongings straight to the luxury car. Clutching my worn yellow bag to my chest, I slid into the back seat. Are you seriously dragging that cursed garbage into our house? There is zero space for your trash back home. Madame Zhuang instantly slapped her across the face. How dare you speak to your own flesh and blood like that? I slowly raised my head and locked eyes with her. Fine. Then I am not going with you. Zhuang Qingqing froze in her seat. She clearly never expected a street kid to push back like that. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Her older sister, Zhuang Qingya, snapped at her. Apologize right now, Qingqing. Gritting her teeth, Qingqing muttered a highly reluctant apology. Then, Madame Zhuang softly asked me how I survived all these years on the streets. Honestly, the concept of biological parents felt incredibly alien to me. I never even had foster parents. Years ago, human traffickers nearly snapped my arm in half. That was when my Shifu ambushed them in the dark and snatched me to safety. I glanced over at a crying Zhuang Sunzi. Is he still playing the precious family son? You literally just walked through the door and you are already trying to kick brother Sunzi out? Listen, even though you are back, we are not abandoning Sunzi. He has been our loving son for years. Emotional bond with him is deep. We will treat you like family too, but do not bully Sunzi. Hearing that, the fake son sobbed and pleaded. Please forgive me, big brother. I have no idea how that hospital mix-up happened. If you hate seeing me here, I can pack up and leave. I slowly scanned the furious faces glaring back at me. I hadn't even made a single threat. All I asked was, if he was still considered part of the family. Suddenly, they realized they had massively overreacted to my innocent question. Madame Zhuang scrambled to explain. Sunzi is the infant you were accidentally swapped with at the hospital. Lufan, from today onward, you are the older brother. Sunzi is your little brother. I just nodded, staying dead silent. His pathetic, fake sobbing was giving me a massive migraine. So I simply closed my eyes. After a terribly bumpy ride, we finally pulled up to the massive Zhuang estate. When we got out, nobody offered to help carry my dirty bags. The entire family marched straight inside. Then, they suddenly realized they had completely abandoned me in the driveway. Madame Zhuang rushed back out, and we locked eyes. I just walked right past her and stepped into the grand foyer alone. Seeing me carry my own trash bags inside, an incredibly awkward look crossed their privileged faces. Zhuang Qingye instantly snapped at the terrified maids. The young master just got home. Why didn't any of you take his luggage? I stood there, watching her put on a loud, fake show, deliberately, shifting all the blame onto the staff. I stopped her. No need. I can carry it myself. Lufan, your permanent room isn't ready. You will sleep on the ground floor tonight. Wait, do all three of them sleep upstairs? I demanded, realizing the hierarchy. The fake Zhuang heir rushed over, playing the peacemaker. Big brother, please forgive Qingqing. She doesn't understand. If you want, I can give you my second floor master suite instead. I cut him off. Not happening. I refuse to sleep anywhere you have lived. That is bad luck. Dropping that bomb, I ignored their shocked gasps and hauled my bags straight into my assigned room. That evening, the housekeeper called me for dinner. The whole biological family was already gathered at the long dining table. They deliberately left the empty chair right next to the fake son for me. The imposter smiled politely and called me big brother. I just glared right through him. His greedy mother was the one who swapped us at the hospital. If my Shifu hadn't rescued me, I would have starved in the gutter. All those dark memories boiled up inside my chest. Smiling back at him was physically impossible. Feeling my cold stare, the fake son awkwardly looked down at his expensive rice bowl. His eyes instantly teared up. Zhuang Qingye glared at me across the feast. Lufan, your brother is talking to you. I heard him. I just don't care to reply. Where are your table manners? Did your street master and those low-class beggars teach you to act like a savage? I slammed my chopsticks down. Insult me all you want, but you force me to eat beside a literal thief, and then you dare lecture me about basic manners? The fake son heard my brutal honesty, and his crocodile tears splashed right into his rice bowl. Seeing her precious brother crying, Zhuang Qingqing lost her mind. What is your toxic problem, Lufan? Hearing about your long-lost return, he went out and bought you dozens of welcome gifts. I sneered at her. You weren't the infant swapped at birth. You weren't the baby thrown into a freezing dumpster. You lived in a mansion. So, you will never understand what it feels like shivering in a paper-thin shirt during a snowstorm. I was a homeless street orphan. Gangs literally tried to smash my arms with pipes, just so I could beg for loose change, looking like a tragedy. I violently rolled up my sleeves. Thick, ugly scars covered my pale skin. The only reason I dropped my soup spoon earlier was because my shattered nerves completely gave out on me. Qingye turned visibly pale. The angry lecture totally died in her throat. Madame Zhuang sat frozen in her expensive chair. My wealthy biological family had zero idea about the brutal trauma I endured on the streets. Mr. Zhuang swallowed hard, trying to hide his sudden guilt. Lufan, your sister will take you to the hospital for a full scan tomorrow. I shook my head. Save it. Shifu already took me to a clinic. My arm moves. That is, all it can do now. So excuse my terrible table manners, dear sister. When I was a hungry kid, my only goal was stealing scraps to survive another night. Nobody taught me elite dining etiquette. The streets only taught me to fight and bleed. Clearly, I am too low class to share a dining table with this perfect family. I lost my appetite anyway. Enjoy your dinner. Qingye panicked. Wait, this is my fault. I severely judged you. What if I told you it's either him or me? If the fake heir stays in this house, I pack my bags and walk. Zhuang Qingqing desperately wanted to scream at me again, but then her eyes darted to my mangled arm, and she swallowed her insults, forcing herself into absolute silence. Even Madame Zhuang looked away, entirely speechless. Mr. Zhuang cleared his throat and spoke in a grim voice. Look, we raised Sunzi for over a decade. If we violently kick him out the very second we recover our biological son, the local media will completely destroy the Zhuang family's reputation. I stared him down. Then you have made your choice. Without another word, I turned my back on the billionaires and marched straight back to my tiny room. The very next morning, I woke up starving. I never imagined that on my very first day here, I wouldn't even get a full meal to eat. I put on the brand new clothes Aunt Wang had bought for me. There was a tiny kitten printed right on them. When I walked outside, the whole family was already wide awake. Zhuang Qingqing locked her stunned eyes on me, staring blankly. She simply could not look away from my strange outfit. She was trying hard to hold back her laughter. What on earth are you wearing? It is new, no patches. Nobody has worn this before. What is wrong with it? Zhuang Qingqing stopped laughing instantly. She finally remembered everything I had been through. Looking totally awkward, she just picked up her phone. After breakfast, Mrs. Zhuang handed me 100,000 yuan. She told me to go out and buy some new clothes. Maybe feeling guilty about what just happened, Zhuang Qingqing actually offered to take me shopping herself. The fake Zhuang grandson froze up for a second. Qingqing, weren't you supposed to look at custom jewelry with me today? Instead, Zhuang Qingqing blinked in surprise. Her eyes shifted back and forth between him and me twice. Finally, she stepped over and stood by my side. Sorry, brother, but Lu Fan just got here today. He doesn't have any friends yet. Just go with your own friends, okay? Zhuang Qingqing headed toward the garage to pull the car out. Only me and the fake grandson were left at the door. On his wrist, he had a fancy watch. It was catching the light, gleaming brightly. Brother, do you want to buy something like this too? Forget it. Some guys just aren't built for a wealthy life. Am I right, brother? I simply stared at him. I didn't say a single word back. My cold stare made him nervous. He muttered, "Are you some kind of bad omen?" and stormed off. Zhuang Qingqing pulled up in the car and saw me standing there. As if suddenly, remembering my condition, she actually stepped out and opened the passenger door for me herself. I slid into the seat. I raised my right hand up. I still have one perfectly working hand, you know. Honestly, who cares? I'm just terrified you might scratch the paint on my car. The mall was absolutely massive. In all my years, I had never set foot inside a place this gigantic. I stood frozen at the main entrance for a while, just staring. Zhuang Qingqing shoved me forward, looking totally annoyed by my reaction. Stop staring like that, let us go. Halfway through shopping, she vanished completely, just ditching me alone inside the clothing store. I grabbed a few outfits and paid the cashier. Then, from the shop right next door. I bought several plus-size garments for men and women. I planned to give them to Aunt Wang and the others back home. I thought it over and decided to spend the remaining cash buying one gift for every single member of the Zhuang family. I waited at the mall entrance until 2 p.m., but Zhuang never showed up. I walked to a nearby convenience store, bought a 3 yuan piece of bread, and filled my empty stomach. I stood there waiting until 5 p.m. Finally, a phone call came in. I noticed it was an unknown number, but I picked it up anyway. Mother Zhuang was on the line. "Lu Fan, my son hurt his leg. We are at the hospital. Just grab a taxi and go home." I simply muttered an okay and hung up. The leftover balance on my phone app wasn't enough to afford a ride all the way to the Zhuang estate. I had to ask the driver to pull over early. So, I walked the entire rest of the way back. I was completely dizzy from hunger and thirst. When I finally reached the house, everybody was already there. Even Father Zhuang, who was usually drowning in work, was home today. Zhuang Sunzi saw me walking in. He flashed this totally awkward smile. "Sorry, brother. This is all my fault. Qingqing could not pick you up. I kept telling my parents that they really didn't need to come, but they insisted. Thankfully, it is just a minor sprain. Otherwise, Mom and Dad would have panicked. You were out wandering all day, brother. You must be completely exhausted. Come, sit down." The housekeeper gently took the shopping bags from my hands. She gasped in total surprise. "Oh my, these gifts are for Mr. and Mrs. Zhuang, right? And for the young master and Miss too." Nobody in the room expected that. Mother Zhuang stepped right forward. She grabbed the shopping bag and started pulling the items out one by one. Zhuang Sunzi's face instantly dropped. He forced a fake smile and muttered, "Guess there is nothing in there for me, huh? It is fine. I completely understand that brother hates me." Mother Zhuang emptied the entire bag. There were exactly 5 items. Not one more, not one less. Zhuang Sunzi's forced smile froze entirely. Suddenly, Mother Zhuang seemed to remember something important and asked me, "Lu Fan, how did you get back?" The cook pointed a shaking finger toward my leg. "The young master's foot is bleeding." I glanced down. My shoe was absolutely soaked in thick blood. Zhuang Qingqing shot up from the couch and ran to grab the first aid kit. Zhuang Qingye gently made me sit down. She carefully pulled off my shoe, but my sock was glued to the bloody skin. She panicked, not knowing what to do next. I didn't even look at her. I just ripped the bloody sock right off my own flesh. Watching this, Zhuang Qingye violently winced. Mother Zhuang let out a muffled shriek and quickly covered her mouth in horror. Crimson drops kept falling heavily. Within seconds, a small pool of blood gathered on the floor. I grabbed the iodine bottle, poured it straight into the open wound, and began wrapping the bandage tight. Because my left hand was permanently stiff, the wrapping looked horribly messy and uneven. Mother Zhuang simply could not watch me struggle anymore. "Quickly, call a doctor for Lu Fan." "Stop doing that. Just wait for a professional." I ignored them and finished tying the sloppy bandage anyway. I refused to look up. No need. I'm exhausted. Then, I dragged myself back to my bedroom. I collapsed into bed. Later, loud knocking startled me awake. I could hear muffled voices arguing out in the hallway. What if he passed out from blood loss? "Hurry up. Kick the door down." I immediately recognized Mother Zhuang's panicked tone. I limped over and unlocked the door. She was standing right there, with a man in a white coat waiting behind her. "Lu Fan, please eat something, and then let this doctor examine your foot." When I limped into the living room, the air felt incredibly heavy. A harsh argument was still going on. Zhuang Sunzi had bloodshot eyes. He looked miserable. "Zhuang." Mother had ruthlessly scolded Zhuang Sunzi. For the very first time, Zhuang Qingqing refused to jump in and defend her beloved brother. When she saw me step out, she shot up from the sofa, unsure of what to even say. "Are you doing okay?" I completely ignored her, and let the doctor bandage my wound properly. After we ate dinner, Zhuang Qingqing kept following me around like a shadow, constantly shoving fresh fruit into my hands. I had just choked down a 4th banana, when a 5th peeled one appeared right beside me. I glared at Zhuang Qingqing. "Just eat it yourself." She looked crushed, then forced it back. "I'm so sorry about today. I really never meant to abandon you at the mall. I had run to the hospital for medicine." Sunzi suddenly called me crying, saying he was badly hurt. But no matter how much I begged, he wouldn't say how serious it was. When I finally reached the ER, I realized it was a minor sprain. But Sunzi threw a tantrum, insisting that I stay by his side to nurse him. I just couldn't leave him all alone there. She stared, waiting for my reaction. "I'm not going to forgive you," I said flatly. "But honestly, I don't entirely blame you either." Hearing that, her head hung in total shame. "You told Mother Zhuang to make that phone call to me, right?" She hesitated awkwardly, then nodded slowly. Back at the house, only she had my direct phone number. A few days passed, and my wounded foot fully healed up. Mother Zhuang transferred more cash to my account, promising she would personally take me shopping this time around. I nodded calmly. "Just let Zhuang Qingqing come with me instead." Zhuang Qingqing leaped right off the living room sofa. "I will go with brother," she yelled, sprinting straight toward the garage. Completely ignoring Zhuang Sunzi's pale, jealous expression, Zhuang Qingye spoke up too. "Then I should probably go with Qingqing as well. She is young and entirely unreliable." But wait, What about my hospital follow-up appointment scheduled for today? My leg is still badly injured, you know. Mother Zhuang suddenly remembered her other precious boy. Sunzi, Mom will go with you instead, okay? No, I want my sisters to take me. As soon as he shouted that, he realized Mother Zhuang's face had dropped completely. Zhuang Qingye was glaring at him, looking highly irritated. Honestly, I think your leg is fine now. You can skip the appointment. No need. If you really want to go, take the driver. Zhuang Sunzi started crying in anger, but this time nobody tried comforting him. I completely refused Mother Zhuang and Father Zhuang. I rejected both of them, only letting Zhuang Qingqing come with me. Inside the car, she was happily humming to herself. Then, as we stopped at a red light, she pulled something out of her pocket. Here, brother. This is a scar removal cream I specially brought from the hospital. A top specialist made it. It is a private formula and very expensive. I asked, do you even have enough money for this? If you ever run short on cash, just ask the family. I really do not have much right now. She asked, what is wrong? Did something happen? I replied, nothing. Could you lend me 200,000 yuan? Qingqing completely froze for a second. Then, without any hesitation, she pulled out her phone to transfer the funds. I stopped her. Gently tracing the letters on the cream tube with my fingers, I asked her softly, when did you get your license? March of this year. Are you going mountain climbing with friends this Saturday? She blinked. Yeah, how did you know? I haven't told the family yet. Do not go, I warned. Why? I already made plans with everyone. I shook my head. I also know exactly 4 of you are going. Just do not go. She hummed, reluctantly agreeing this time. To cheer her up, I bought her a little bracelet, and her mood instantly brightened up again. When we finally returned home, she happily helped me organize all the items we had purchased. Just then, Zhuang Sunzi walked over with some freshly cut apple slices on a small plate. Qingqing, you must be so tired. Come have some fruit. Zhuang Qingqing casually picked up a piece with a toothpick, popped it into her mouth, and then quickly grabbed another slice just for me. Thank you, brother Sunzi. But Zhuang Sunzi just stood there watching us. I noticed a fresh bandage wrapped around his left index finger, and I immediately understood exactly what he was trying to pull. But Zhuang Qingqing remained completely oblivious. He set the fruit plate down and glared right at me. I totally ignored him and just kept eating the apple right out of my hand. Suddenly, Zhuang Sunzi locked his eyes on the cheap new bracelet resting on Qingqing's wrist. Pretending to be totally clueless, he smugly asked, where did you get this? Cheap little thing? Wearing garbage like that on your wrist could cause an infection. Are you not afraid? Honestly, the bracelet was incredibly cheap. When I originally bought it for Qingqing, I never even mentioned its actual price, and she never bothered to ask. Without a single hint of disgust, she slipped it right onto her wrist, sitting directly beside her expensive watch. Zhuang Sunzi suddenly grabbed her arm tightly. Be careful. Do not scratch the luxury watch I gifted you. Saying that, he actively tried tearing the bracelet off her wrist. Qingqing quickly jerked her hand away. Brother Baifan bought this for me. It is absolutely not a cheap item at all. I sighed. Well, it really is not expensive. Just a few hundred yuan. She smiled. Even if it costs a few hundred, I will wear it. Do not worry, Sunzi. Brother Baifan would never let me get hurt. Zhuang Sunzi shot me an absolute death glare. His eyes screamed that I was stealing his precious sister away. But honestly, she was my real sister from the start. Over dinner that evening, Zhuang Sunzi casually brought up her Saturday hiking trip. Sister Qingqing, can I tag along with you? Since there are 4 of you going, adding just one more person shouldn't be a problem. I knew exactly what twisted game Zhuang Sunzi was playing. He saw Qingqing and me growing so close, and now he desperately wanted to wedge himself between us. Then let us take Baifan along too. Sunzi briefly furrowed his brows, but instantly masked his frustration. But a standard car only holds 5 people max. If Brother Baifan comes with us, we will not have enough space left. I cut in, no need. I am absolutely not going, and Qingqing is not going either. Yeah, I actually have other plans this Saturday, she added. Brother Sunzi, if you still want to go, I can let them know. Zhuang Sunzi was stunned. He shot a glaring look at me, forcing a very stiff smile. Why cancel now? You literally just planned this last week, right? Just not feeling it. He scoffed. Or did Brother Baifan use his weird tricks to read your fortune and predict something terrible? Father Zhuang violently slammed his chopsticks right onto the dinner table. Is this true, Baifan? Do not ever bring that garbage into this house again. Absolutely none of us believe in this mystic nonsense. Qingqing, if you want to go hiking this Saturday, go. Stop blindly trusting these idiotic fortune-telling scams. She quickly defended me. But you guys are completely misunderstanding the situation. Brother Baifan did not do any fortune-telling. I calmly interrupted. Actually, I did. If Qingqing goes out this Saturday, a bloody accident will happen to her. He roared. Spout this trash again, and you leave my house. Zhuang Sunzi subtly shifted his chair closer to Mother Zhuang, but his cold eyes stayed firmly locked onto mine. A sickeningly arrogant gleam of absolute victory flashed in his stare. Cutting through the heavy, suffocating tension in the room, I spoke in a flat, emotionless tone. Is this really about the 5-year-old younger sister who passed away? Father Zhuang's face instantly drained of all color, burning with pure rage. He grabbed a plate and hurled it straight at me. You knew everything beforehand, yet you still peddled that cheap fortune-telling garbage to Qingqing. Scum like you are the reason Lin died. Mother Zhuang cried. Bai Fan, can you please just throw all those terrible things away? Everyone at the table glared at me, silently demanding I go trash my spiritual tools immediately. I did not even flinch. Sensing his opening, Zhuang Sunzi aggressively lashed out. You know exactly what this disgusting magic did to our grieving family. Yet you still have the nerve to perform these cheap parlor tricks and completely manipulate. Qingqing, she panicked. Wait a second. I never told Brother Bai Fan any of this family history. I stayed quiet, letting them wrongly assume that Qingqing had leaked the secret to me. I calmly continued speaking. Roughly 1 month before the little sister tragically died, Zhuang Sunzi developed a terrifyingly high fever. Am I right? Even the best hospital doctors could not cure his illness. So, you desperately hired a Taoist priest. But just days after that priest left, your little sister caught the same fever and perished. Zhuang Sunzi's smug face instantly dropped. Mother Zhuang's eyes went completely wide in sheer terror. It was widely known that the wealthy Zhuang family lost a young daughter many years ago. Most of high society knew that basic fact, but the dark truth of how she actually died was a heavily guarded secret they never shared with anyone outside the immediate family. Bai Fan, how on earth do you know all of this? I shrugged. That is all I can reveal. As for Qingqing's hiking trip, if she still wants to go, she can. It makes zero difference to me anymore. Dinner ended in suffocating silence. Father Zhuang fully convinced himself that someone had leaked the dark family history to me. Or maybe, I was just making wild guesses. But deep down, they knew the terrifying truth. Making a vague, lucky guess was one thing, but accurately predicting Zhuang Sunzi's childhood fever and that mysterious Taoist priest showing up at their door, that was definitely not just dumb luck or a random guess. My revelations left the entire household deeply paranoid for days. I just stayed quietly inside my room, refusing to go anywhere. Qingqing constantly tried sneaking away to speak with me, but Zhuang Sunzi always dragged her back. He only speaks cursed nonsense. Stay away from him. During those few tense days, Mother Zhuang also started treating me like a total ghost. I knew I had severely triggered the family's deepest, most painful trauma, so I offered to leave the house for a while. Mother Zhuang looked like she wanted to say something, but words completely failed her. Qingqing pleaded, Bai Fan, we really did not mean it like that. I nodded. I know. An old client recently asked me to cleanse some bad luck. Staying here to handle this business just isn't very convenient right now. Hearing me bring up my spiritual work again made Father Zhuang totally lose his mind. Get out of my house tomorrow, and until you throw away all that superstitious garbage, do not ever come back. I calmly packed a few outfits, knowing it wouldn't take long for them to come begging me to return. Right before I walked out the door, Qingqing slipped me a bank card. Brother Bai Fan, please just apologize to Mom and Dad. They actually care about you deeply. Then you won't have to leave. Honestly, I had never once called them Mom or Dad. Right at that moment, Qingqing finally realized that since arriving at this estate, I had never once used those parental titles. She reached out to stop me, but suddenly, Father Zhuang's booming voice echoed from upstairs. Let him go. Do not stop him. Let us see if he can find a better place than this mansion. On my very first day here, I had asked them one simple question. If only one son could stay, who would you? So this is your final answer, right? Father Zhuang scoffed coldly, turning on his heel and retreating to his bedroom. Before following him, that arrogant Zhuang boy threw a mocking smirk right at me. Big brother, he sneered. I hope you toss all this trash out soon, and just come home. I heard you never even went to school. Look, I will beg Dad later. If you are actually willing to come back, I will personally talk to him. I will ask him to send you to a good school. Your little brother will always be right here waiting for you. I just walked away without looking back. I completely ignored his pathetic words. My only real hope right now was that Zhuang Qingqing would actually listen to me and skip her mountain climbing trip today. Zhuang Qingya insisted on dropping me at the hotel. She tried handing me a bank card, but I pushed it right back. No need for this. You can pay me later. Zhuang Qingya totally missed my point and just forcefully shoved the card right into my hand anyway. I stared back at her for a second and then suddenly blurted out something completely random. You got badly injured back when you were 18, right? Zhuang Qingya spun around in absolute shock. She was just about to ask how I knew that, but the elevator doors had already closed in front of her. The small bell on my keychain jingled softly. Honestly, my stay at the hotel was getting pretty miserable. Zhuang Qingya must have gone home and leaked my location, because people kept showing up in the dead of night. Random guys just kept pounding on my door. I knew exactly who sent them that arrogant Zhuang boy. After all, he was still officially recognized as the young master of the powerful Zhuang family. To protect their precious family reputation, the hotel staff never dared to stop them. Thanks to that, I could barely get any sleep. Meanwhile, Zhuang Qingqing was constantly flooding my phone with messages. I completely ignored all of her texts. I refused to reply until this morning, when I finally sent her one warning. Do not go mountain climbing. I turned on the television, but I was already too late. Breaking news reported that out in the city, a massive traffic accident had just happened. An out-of-control truck slammed directly into a speeding SUV. 2 people died on the spot, and 4 were critically injured. I quickly counted the victims on my fingers, 1 reckless driver, and 5 innocent victims. Zhuang Qingqing really ignored me and went anyway. Right then, Mother Zhuang called in a panic. Baifan, get to the hospital immediately. Qingqing is hurt. When I rushed into the hospital, that spoiled Zhuang boy immediately started screaming at me. This is entirely your fault. You fed Qingqing all that weird superstitious garbage, and now she is badly hurt. How dare you even show your face here? Mother Zhuang stepped out of the ward. That boy instantly grabbed her arm, practically begging, Mom, Qingqing is okay, right? She nodded slowly, then gave me a very complicated, heavy look. Zhuang Qingye quickly noticed the incredibly awkward atmosphere between us and spoke up. Mom, how is she doing? Really? Mother Zhuang stepped aside so we could finally walk in. She avoided any serious damage today. Honestly, just a badly sprained ankle. Inside the ward, Zhuang Qingqing sat with her leg propped up. The second she saw us, she smiled like a completely clueless child. Without a single thought, that Zhuang boy blurted out, How did you only manage to hurt your leg? You really should have died in that crash. Zhuang Qingqing's smile vanished instantly. Only then did the idiot realize he had just said something horribly wrong. I didn't mean it like that. Get out of here right now, Father Zhuang roared. Dad, wait, I heard everything from Qingqing. You woke her up at dawn and sent her up that mountain just to fetch something for you. If it wasn't for you, she would never be hurt. How could I predict a massive car crash? I just wanted her to grab those peace beads for you. I heard there is an incredibly gifted master up on that mountain. I wanted to get them specially for your birthday. Dad, look, Qingqing survived, and he only did this to make you happy. Hearing that pathetic excuse, Father Zhuang's furiously tense face finally softened a little bit. You useless boy. That famous master already left. Wait, what are you talking about? I really thought you knew. That master publicly announced his departure from this city over a full week ago. It was literally trending online everywhere. Do you never even check your phone? Zhuang Sunzi totally froze, completely unable to form a single excuse. He awkwardly shifted his eyes and desperately looked over at Zhuang Qingye. She didn't look happy at all, but still defended him. Maybe Sunzi just missed the news. Ultimately, he did this with really good intentions. I honestly thought the master was there. I am so sorry, Brother Baifan. I should never have let Qingqing go out. If I had just listened to you, this bloody disaster wouldn't have happened. Hearing the phrase bloody disaster instantly triggered a memory for Father Zhuang from just a few days ago. Who actually invited him here? I called Brother Baifan to come. Once Father Zhuang realized that his precious Qingqing was the one who asked me here, he could not even explode in anger like he wanted. Instead, his face only showed pure frustration. Qingqing, why on earth did you call Baifan? Zhuang Qingqing silently reached into her pocket. She slowly opened her palm, revealing a handful of shattered wooden beads. Suddenly, every single person in the room turned and stared right at me. These beads shattered. That literally means they absorbed a fatal disaster meant for you. But I explicitly texted you this morning, warning you not to go near that mountain. Seriously, if you just stayed home, your leg wouldn't be busted right now. Message? What warning message? I never got anything from you. Look, Qingqing is safe now. Let's drop the whole subject. Just let the poor girl get some rest. You claim to be her loving older brother. Haven't you always cared about her safety the most? Zhuang Qingqing quickly unlocked her phone. The glass screen was cracked from the wreck, but you could still easily read everything. Perfectly fine. I snatched the device and opened our chat log. Do not go mountain climbing. My unread message was sitting right there, clear as day. How is this possible? Was there a bad network signal out there? No. I clearly remember hearing my phone beep this morning. But I was busy, so I actually asked Brother Sunzi to check the notification for me. Sunzi, it wasn't me. I swear, I didn't delete your stupid text message. He practically confessed without me even pressing him. Nobody in the powerful Zhuang family was an idiot. Zhuang Sunzi's extremely panicked reaction made it painfully obvious to everyone in the room that he was the actual rat who deleted the warning. Why would you do this? Qingqing is your own little sister. I didn't do it. Zhuang Sunzi aggressively gripped his own hair. Then he suddenly whipped around, pointed a shaking finger at me, and screamed, It's all his fault. He's the monster who almost got Qingqing killed. If he had spouted that lie earlier, they probably would have believed him blindly. But this time, I was the one who actually saved her life. Qingqing's eyes were welling up with absolute disappointment. Zhuang Sunzi was the beloved older brother she grew up with, the guy who swore to always protect her. A few short days later, Zhuang Qingqing was finally cleared to leave the hospital and go home. During that time, Sunzi desperately tried everything to please my biological parents and his sisters. I already knew the harsh truth over the years. This family's deep emotional attachment to their fake son had become unbreakable. A minor leg injury wouldn't be enough to make the Zhuang family kick him out onto the street. But the universe demands balance, and his karmic debt remained unpaid. If he wanted to stay in that luxurious mansion, he could just rot in a prison cell instead. Zhuang Qingqing awkwardly hobbled inside on her new crutches. Sunzi immediately rushed forward to support her weight, but she coldly pulled her arm away. Ignoring him entirely, she limped over and sat right next to me. Zhuang Sunzi's eyes instantly went red with unshed tears. Please forgive me, Qingqing. Can you ever forgive me? Mother Zhuang looked incredibly torn watching this. After all, Sunzi was the sweet boy she had lovingly raised for over a decade. It broke her heart seeing us kids fighting and drifting apart like this. Qingqing, sweetie, your brother is trying to talk to you. Zhuang Qingqing didn't even look up. She just mumbled and kept gently rubbing the string of beads in her hand. I recognized it instantly. It was the exact same protection bracelet I gave her. A few wooden beads had shattered into pieces during the crash, completely ruining the loop. Sunzi noticed her attachment and mistakenly thought she just loved cheap jewelry. He forced a desperate smile. If you really like that stuff, I promise I will buy you a much more expensive, beautiful bracelet in a few days. Forget it. I don't need your gifts. I calmly reached into my pocket and pulled out a brand new beaded bracelet. Here, this is for you. 50,000 yuan. Zhuang Qingqing's face lit up instantly. She eagerly grabbed her phone to transfer the cash. Sunzi watched her sour mood vanish in seconds. He clenched his fists tightly, frowning in pure jealousy. Brother Bifan, we are literally family. Are you seriously charging our sister 50 grand for cheap beads? These are powerful safety blessings. You want one too? Zhuang Sunzi's face instantly went pale. He quickly backed away, stuttering. No, absolutely not. Father Zhuang still hated me doing this mystical stuff under his roof. He especially despised it. I tried to dodge it, but Zhuang Qingya stepped up. Can I get a necklace too? She asked. I just nodded and held out my hand. 100,000 yuan. Mine costs 50,000 more. Don't you remember? I saved your life once when you turned 18. Mr. Zhuang stood there, completely stunned. Mrs. Zhuang just froze in her tracks. Suddenly, a very distinct memory flashed right into Zhuang Qingya's mind. A 7-year-old memory hit her. She had just turned 18 back then. Completely full of pride and total confidence, she had planned to travel overseas to watch a football match. But that exact day, everything went terribly wrong, especially when she got home and found a strange peach pit in her pocket. Later, she watched the horrifying news of a plane crash. That peach pit. How do you know that? I casually picked up the newspaper Mr. Zhuang had tossed aside. Did they ever find the guy who ran off with the cash? If construction doesn't start on that plot soon, those workers are going to riot. Mr. Zhuang's eyes went wide with pure shock. It was the absolute first time I had ever seen such complicated emotions on his face. The project manager fleeing with the funds was breaking news he only just received. The staff had literally just told him. Workers were already starting to strike, one by one. He had not breathed a single word of this to anyone yet. Mom, I finally said. This was the very first time I had ever called Mrs. Zhuang that. It took her a few seconds to even process it. She replied, and I offered a faint smile. Lin told me to call you that. I had poked the forbidden bear again. Zhuang Sunzi immediately lunged forward, desperately trying to strike me, but Zhuang Qingqing grabbed him and held him back. His face was twisted in pure, terrifying rage. How dare you bring that up? You are just torturing Mom and Dad right now. Mom, Dad, look, Lufan is using his cheap little fortune tricks again. But this time, absolutely everyone shut him down. Even Zhuang Qingya, who literally always took his side, could not keep quiet anymore. What exactly do you mean? Lin told you to say that? What does that mean? I already knew that aside from Zhuang Sunzi, every single member of this biological family absolutely adored that little sister. That is exactly why Lin passing away was a devastating blow to the entire household. Perfect. Now that everyone is gathered here, saying that, I turned around and walked back. I untied the yellow cloth, spreading it flat across the table. I pulled out my tools, revealing the tiny bell resting inside. Mrs. Zhuang completely froze in total disbelief, staring at it. Is that Lin's longevity lock? Where on earth did you get this? This was not some standard longevity lock. It featured incredibly intricate carvings. One quick glance proved exactly how much they all cherished their youngest sister. I completely ignored the question. Instead, I just pointed straight towards Zhuang Sunzi's bedroom. There is a tree right behind his room, correct? Bring a shovel and dig directly under that tree. It is buried pretty deep, but you will find it soon enough. Mom, Dad, are you seriously going to believe this guy? Zhuang Sunzi screamed, clearly panicking now. His freaky little magic tricks are exactly what killed Lin. Who knows who he is going to kill next? Zhuang Qingqing suddenly stood up. I trust Brother Lufan completely. If it was not for him, I would have died a few days ago. Mrs. Zhuang had no idea what to do. Mr. Zhuang just stood there in absolute silence, frowning deeply. I am not here to hurt any of you. Eventually, they grabbed tools and began digging under the tree. Zhuang Sunzi burst into tears, desperately begging them to stop digging. He crawled over to Mr. and Mrs. Zhuang, openly sobbing and pleading. When nobody listened, he lunged and grabbed my collar tight. You people murdered my little sister years ago. Who are you trying to kill this time? Dad, Mom, or my older sister? Truth is, you really just want to kill me the most, right? Sunzi, calm down. Suddenly, a piercing scream echoed from Auntie. She yanked a dirt-covered red cloth straight out of the soil and very carefully unwrapped it. Inside rested that exact same longevity lock. Except, A single tiny bell was missing from it. Mrs. Zhuang collapsed right onto her knees. How is this buried here? I placed this on Lin Lin with my own hands. We buried her wearing it. I wanted it to keep her safe in her next life. Lu Fan, what is happening? Why on earth is Lin Lin's longevity lock buried under this tree? Zhuang Qingye and Zhuang Qingqing rushed over to look. They all instantly recognized the engraving. It definitely was not a fake. Only Zhuang Sunzi stood completely frozen, constantly muttering to himself. This is impossible. Impossible. What I'm about to tell you might shatter your entire reality. Believe me or do not. It is your choice. I stared right at them. Zhuang Sunzi and I were not switched by mistake. Do you know his actual biological mother? Her last name was Zhuang. Mrs. Zhuang remembered her almost instantly. She was a maid who worked for the Zhuang household many years ago. But she was a thief. When she finally stole a necklace from Mrs. Zhuang worth over 1 million yuan, they caught her red-handed and threw her out of the residence forever. Because of that disgrace, she violently resented the entire Zhuang family. A few years later, she purposefully swapped the wealthy family's newborn son with her own. You raised her child as your own. That is Zhuang Sunzi. And Zhuang Sunzi's cursed destiny violently clashed with Lin Lin's fate. Little Lin Lin suffered through a brutal fever for days. Every single day she kept begging you for help. Did you seriously never notice that since you brought Zhuang Sunzi home, the family business has constantly been tanking? Or that Zhuang Qingye and Zhuang Qingqing were constantly getting severely injured as kids? That is right. The beloved son you raised is actually the dark root of all this suffering. You lying bastard, Zhuang Sunzi screamed, lunging forward to slap my face. Lies. Absolute lies. You are talking total trash. But Mrs. Zhuang was much faster. She delivered a vicious slap that sent him crashing straight to the floor. How could you hurt your own sister? She was so incredibly sweet to you. I genuinely curse you. I hope you die a miserable death. Shut up. Drag him out of here right now. Lock him in a mental asylum. Zhuang Sunzi truly panicked. A psychiatric ward was way worse than prison. He instantly fell onto his knees, sobbing uncontrollably, desperately begging them for mercy. Please do not send me away. I am begging you. Am I not your beloved son? Lin Lin is gone forever, but I am still here. I will always be your son, right? How dare you even say her name, if it was not for you? If it was not for you, absolutely nobody ever imagined that the beloved boy they so carefully raised would be the direct cause of their own daughter's death. Ultimately, Zhuang Sunzi was locked away in that mental asylum. Lu Fan, can you please let me see Lin Lin just one more time? That is impossible. Mrs. Zhuang burst into heavy tears. Mr. Zhuang slowly walked up to me, extending a premium bank card. His voice sounded completely broken. I heard that fortune tellers must collect payment after every single psychic reading. There is 1 million yuan on this card. I gently pushed his hand away, simply ringing the small bell in my palm. Someone else already paid the toll. It was like all their remaining strength instantly evaporated. Like their final pillar of support had been totally smashed. One by one, they just wept quietly. Later that night, our real biological family finally sat down for dinner together. Mr. Zhuang wanted to arrange a fancy school for my education. I just shook my head and politely refused. He did not push it. He simply muttered, "From today onwards, you are the sole heir of the Zhuang family." I stayed silent. Before leaving, I handed them all a protective bracelet. It is nothing expensive, just for basic safety. As the morning sun finally crept up, I packed my sparse bags. I was sneaking out at dawn. The house cook bolted over to stop me. "Sir, madam, the young master is leaving right now." Mr. Zhuang, Mrs. Zhuang, Zhuang Qingye, and Zhuang Qingqing all came frantically sprinting down the stairs. I never even looked back at them. I just coldly said, "I have literally asked you this exact question twice already. If you were forced to choose between me and Zhuang Sunzi, who do you pick? You cannot keep us both. I am leaving now." From somewhere behind me, I heard Mrs. Zhuang violently sobbing. Zhuang Qingqing was also crying out, desperately calling me her brother with a choked throat. I still refused to look back at them. Maybe Auntie Wang was completely right all along. The family was incredibly powerful and insanely rich, so why did it take them decades to finally locate me? When they first saw me reading fortunes on the filthy street, did they think I was cursed? I guess. I cleared all those distracting thoughts from my mind and confidently stepped right out of the Zhang family's front door. Then it hit me. I remembered Shafi telling me about an entirely new formation he was going to teach me that day, and I had not learned it yet.